Aloha, beautiful souls, and welcome to the next episode of the Soul Waves podcast. If you notice the title is Be as the Sakura Tree. In Japan, there is something called the sakura, or the cherry blossom trees. And for a fortnight only, each spring, they blossom. The rest of the year, there is no leaves or blossoms on these trees. We have some at home in Scotland as well, and also some at home in Canada as well. Yet they have a different, unique cycle. They are special trees. They have a specific and unique season. Rather than be sad about it or attempt to control or try to get it to be longer, it is something that we are actually meant to embrace and celebrate. Embrace for its sheer beauty and celebrate for that special gift of being here in this now moment, this one moment. So too are we to be in our unions, connections, relationships, circumstances, situations in our lives. As the deepest truth is that everything in our life changes. Everything has a season, a reason, and a time. God, Source, the divine itself, is infinite. So too are the Sakura, as too are we. As our relationships, connections with others, as we all are soul and Source itself, created by and therefore created by Source and therefore infinite. So in this episode, I really want to dive into the heart and soul of this to really understand what it means to be as the Sakura tree. Because although we are of Source and we are infinite, in the physical form, there is a finite essence to us. Our bodies are nay the same looking as they were a day gone, let alone once we were 5 or 6 till now. The Sakura, the cherry blossom, can only blossom its flowers once each year for a fortnight. So both and are true. We are things that are both and beings that are both infinite Source God, the divine. And also we have a finite season, a finite essence to us, and the tree to it. As we really can or know that this physical form will at some point perish. Yet often what occurs is we as humans tend to cling onto or attach to what we are wanting to control that. We often attach to what we want of a person, an idea, a situation, or a circumstance. And to attempt to feel safe or secure in our lives, we want to control it or keep it or them, keep things from changing, if you will. As it is staying the same somehow in our minds that has us feel safe and secure. And we also thinketh that in this process of controlling this person or this thing or this circumstance situation, that we can get what we want of it, or having things stay the same, or that relationship or that job, etc. That somehow, again, we feel this sense of safety, this sense of security in that. In my life, I really learned this lesson of what I'm about to share with you, or soulfully remembered, as we call it, from the soul essence. The life lesson or the soul remembering of this that I'm going to share with you through what happened in my own life. See, in my life twice, many times, but two major things in my life was once I had my daughter, Caitlin, and lost her. Now, I lost her several times before this, yet this last time, which was 25-year gone, actually, almost to the day that this is being recorded, and this is being recorded in March 2026, and it was 25-year gone once I was with child, and I had Caitlin in my womb, and I ended up having to give birth to her stillbirth. That I came to understand this whole sense of grasping onto things and holding on to things of what I wanted so badly, of having a child, and particularly of having a girl, being that I have 3 boys, and trying to control this so that I felt safe and secure. And it was really through losing Caitlin and the healing that I went through of what I'm about to share with you on how to heal this, to shift this, to integrate this, is actually what made me stronger and had me come into a place of exactly this wisdom that I'm about to share with you. And then there was one other time, quite a few years later, about maybe 6 years later, something of that nature, where I got this lesson or this soul remembering again in a whole different level. And it was very interesting because at that time I was mentoring a bloke who was living in Malibu, and he had this gigantic castle in Malibu. I don't know if he even still does. Nay, never went to it. Nay, ever went to it either. But we did phone sessions at that time because that was before we had the ability to do video sessions. And so I would do phone sessions with him and mentoring him. And about 6 or so months into the process of mentoring him, and about 6 or so months before this actually happened for me, he was on the phone with me and he said to me, "Well, you're always giving me wisdom. I have something coming through from the universe that I have to share with you." I was like, "Okay, I'm completely open. Share with me." He proceeded to say to me, "Within 6 months or sooner, you will be given the opportunity to let your children go." And I looked at him and I was like, "Are you mad? I would ever let my children go. They are my life. They are everything to me. I live and breathe for them, right? I'm doing the spiritual work. I am being a mom. There's no way I'm giving up my children." And of course, at this time, my eldest was nearly adult, and my other 2 were teen and preteen. And I was like, "You're mad. This is not gonna happen." And it was within 6 months or so after that a series of events occurred between my ex-husband and I at that time, to where I ended up losing my children. I attempted to take them with me. We ended up separating and divorcing. We were separated before this call even happened. We were separated a couple of years after this. However, I still had my children with me, but I ended up losing the ability to have them with me through the court system and things that happen, which I will not get into here. But what I will share with you is there was a moment where I thought about what this bloke had shared with me, what this man had shared with me, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's right." But even before that, I literally fell on my knees, as I had done in several other times in my life, and was just kind of like kind of like Yeshua or Jesus did at Gethsemane, and was like, "Why have you forsaken me? I've given my everything." And of course, at that point, I was still on the healing path, and there was still loads of toxicity within my body physically, but also emotionally, things I hadn't processed yet and healed. And I was grasping, I was trying to hold on for that security, that safety of having my children, and they were my everything. And it was through the process of these two things that I'm sharing with you here that helped me on the path of what I'm about to share with you, of the wisdom I came into from Source and how I healed this. And it was a very powerful healing experience. It was something that took quite a long time. It wasn't something that happened overnight. Yet, because of this, I came to understand that we tend to think that we will get what we want, as I thought, whence in actuality, it's normally the opposite. See, I thought I really wanted to have my children. I really wanted to have my daughter, and I did. And I do still love my boys that are alive, and I love my daughter, Caitlin, who is in spirit. However, I came to understand that the more I, or the more you, if you're going through this, try to control, the more you push it away. So I tried to control. In fact, it was really difficult. I was taking certain herbs and everything else, trying to control the birthing process, so to speak, so that I didn't go into premature labor. And the more I tried to control it, the more I pushed that away, and the more losing my daughter happened. The same thing with my children. The more I fought my ex-husband, the more I tried to be right and lash out at him and say things and do things and try to do this and try to do that and what have you, the more I pushed it away. And subsequently, the more I clinged. So the more you try to cling, the more scarcity is there. And the more that things get pulled out from under you, which is exactly what happened to me. It's exactly the earthly lesson, or the soul remembering, that I had to remember. Because any, and I do mean any, attachment that you have is actually a form of avoidance and is definitely resistance. Now, at that time when I was going through that, I didn't ken that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. In my heart and my soul, I knew it. But my head, no. I was being guided by what I thought I wanted. But actually, it was avoidance and resistance. Avoidance of what is needing to be heard, of the emotions that are within you that you have yet to process. Oh boy, were there loads of unhealed emotions for me. Many things in my life at that time, and you may be going through the same thing. If you are attempting to control something, control an outcome, control a situation, control a person, that you're wanting something so badly to happen, it's usually, and I can almost guarantee 99.99999 to 100% of the time, it's because of emotions, energy, emotion that you have yet to process. And the resistance is to the very thing that you are saying that you want. And that safety and security that we are so wanting, guess what? The only safety I came to understand, the only safety is within. And with the divine first. And then the only security is in security. See, we use that word differently. Of being insecure means that you're secure within. I'm going to capitalize it, capital I, capital N, insecurity, as in feeling security from within, feeling secure within yourself, within your soul. There's talk about being securely attached. In psychology and such, it's a term for attachment styles. There's avoidant attachment, there's all sorts of attachments, right? Dismissive attachment and what have you. Yet once you are in any form, remember what I said, any form of attachment, we tend to think that, oh, we're securely attached as infants to our mothers and our fathers and what have you. This is a misnomer. Any attachment creates constriction, contraction, and survival mechanism activating in your nervous system, which can create such symptoms as people pleasing, hyper-independence, overgiving, or avoidant tendencies. So I would invite those in psychology and in the world to begin to change the words of these terms, because words are vibration, frequency, and energy, and they create a spell, if you will, once we say them. And so instead of attachment as a child or even now as an adult, how about secure connection instead of secure attachment? Securely connected. And to really understand that the words avoidant attachment, dismissive avoidant, fearful avoidant, instead of them being labels, they are just simply patterns that a person experiences, nay, the identity of who they are, yet patterns a person experiences that are adaptive strategies, self-defensive coping mechanisms due to trauma, wounds, and triggers of their nervous system. From emotions, energy in motion, feelings that have been free from being heard, felt, understood, seen, and processed within the soma, or the body, from childhood and other life events, just as like what happened with me. Now, on a deeper level still, we only attach to something because we are giving it more meaning than ourselves. And this is what I had to come to understand. Through my healing process, I came to understand that I was attaching the meaning of my children, whether it was my daughter that I lost or my 3 boys. I gave them so much more meaning than my own self. I valued them than my own life. And people can say, well, of course, they're your children. You're supposed to. Nay, really. You're supposed to love them and cherish them. But you're meant to give them so much meaning that you place them on a pedestal. Because anytime we make our God something or someone, and we place it on a pedestal and make it more important and worth more than God itself and our soul, this is where pain happens. This is where suffering happens. And it is so because we are giving it meaning, and a meaning that is more important than our soul and God. And ultimately is what it has it staying away from us. So making it mean equal to our soul and equal to God is actually the key. That's the healing I had to come to understand. Had I known this back then, had I been awake to it, had I been healed, integrated enough, and healed and processed my emotions enough, would I have my daughter or my sons? Nay. because this is the other component that very few folk that I know, as if any, are even talking about, which is soul agreement. Soul agreements are something that our soul creates with our soul council and source, God, spirit, the divine, whatever you choose to call such. And our soul and all of the souls that we meet in any given life, we have these soul agreements before we come into each life for the express purpose of experiencing life and being able to come into soul rememberings or life lessons to be learned, soul rememberings to be remembered, because we already come here as soul with everything already within us. We're just here to remember what's here. And so my soul agreement was to have my daughter and to be able to let go of my sons. Now, I'm going to share something that may seem very controversial. It may seem horrible to say, but I'm going to explain it because it's from the deepest of my heart. In this healing process, I came to understand that I should have, even though I had a soul agreement, let me clarify, I had and have a soul agreement to have my children with my ex-husband. If it were nay for that soul agreement, though, I came to understand that I really should nay have had children. Do I regret it? Nay. Should I nay have had children? Aye. And here's why. Because I was so unhealed and so wounded and had so many emotions, energy and motion and feelings that I hadn't processed from being raped as a teenager, from being sex trafficked, attempted sex trafficking by my father, by being sexually abused as a child, by being physically abused as a child. All of these things I hadn't even processed. And I had my children because I wanted someone to love me, rather than being able to love me and process my own feelings with my little girl, my wee lassie, within me. I kept wanting something outside to heal me, to love me, to give me everything I didn't have as a child. And so those soul agreements are still in place, to where I am estranged from my children because of the events of what happened in 2006, 2007 timeframe. Even though I was separated 2003, 2004. And that still holds true. Those soul agreements are still there, because had I been in a more healed, integrated place, I wouldn't have ever had my children, soul agreement or nay. I would have gone against that soul agreement in that sense. But as that adage says, if you knew then what you knew now, I would have never had children, because I knew I was coming from an unhealed place. And I also know I have this mission and purpose that I basically, because of the unhealed wounds and because of having children and making them my whole world and placing them on this pedestal, I delayed that process of my original soul agreement, which is to be doing exactly what I'm doing here and assisting you. So, for those things, though, that have soul agreements, for placing such of what it is that you have a soul agreement for into your life, that you're therefore desiring. And desire is a good word, because the root word is sire, which is like siring a child, which means of God. Then placing such equal to your soul and equal to God is the key to healing this. So for instance, when I first started out with my twin soul, here's another life lesson or soul remembering that I have. I was in awe of him. And at one point, I was in such awe of him that I started to place him on a pedestal. And it wasn't until I went and started healing my emotions and feelings around this and healing certain things that I was able to then place him on an equal footing with myself and with God. That was the key to the evolution of our connection. That brought him closer rather than repelling him. Aye? Because he was always just out of reach. Now, there's other reasons that we're not together physically right now. And we're in two separate countries. There's other things at play, still unhealed and are healing in process. However, having said that, this right here is something that I had to come to learn or soulfully remember. So for you, if you have something in your life that you're struggling with and you want it so badly, stop placing it on a pedestal. Stop making it be your God. Whatever it is that you're wanting to bring into your life, desiring, if you have a soul agreement for it, will come to you more clearly once you place it on equal footing with God, Source, the divine, and your soul. Because then it's at an equal level, an equal vibration, an equal frequency as God and you are. And then such can naturally come as it's already yours. And that's where that already yours comes from, as you have God's blessing, Source's blessing, and it's your soul agreement. So how do you place it on the same vibrational frequency energy as you? Now, again, I'm going to stress this only applies if you have a soul agreement to have such in your life. So, as I said earlier, the first step is stop wanting. Stop wanting it, for one thing. Stop wanting and start being. Being in a place of neutrality about it, being neutral. In other words, you are okay if you have it, and you're okay if you don't have it or don't have it. So that was the one thing that I struggled with when it came to my twin soul, when it came to other things in my life. I would struggle with, oh, I want to do this so badly. I want to create this so badly, but it's not moving forward. It's nay this, it's nay that. And it was because I had it on a pedestal, but also because I was so holding the vision so tightly that I was almost as if it was like an obsession of, I've got to have it, I've got to have it, it's got to be here now, it's got to be here now. And I was placing too much importance on it, and I was nay okay if I didn't have it or it didn't happen. So once you can be okay, either way, this is where it can come to you. Now, this is not about just saying the words, because you can say the words all you want, yet your nervous system and your vibration, your frequency, and your energy is still vibrating at, I want it so badly. This will still keep it away from you. To be neutral about it is to let go, if you will, of what you know, and to step into and embracing the unknown. I'm okay if I have it, and I'm okay if I don't have it. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. And the other part of this is to heal, integrate, and process your emotions and feelings about this that you're attached to and wanting it so badly. So, for instance, with me, when I wanted my daughter, Caitlin, so badly, it was not just about wanting another girl or a girl. It was about my wee lassie, my little girl inside, how unloved she felt, how I felt like I was nothing if I didn't have her. So I had to process and heal that. Because underneath every attachment, every wanting of something so badly, are those deeper feelings and emotions. Nay feeling good enough, whatever it is that are there wanting to be heard about you having this or that, or what would happen if you didn't have such. So this is a great question to ask yourself. If I may ever get such, what then? What would happen? I never got my daughter. She was born, but she was stillbirthed. And so as a result, I never had my daughter. So I literally had to, in real time, process, okay, what did it mean that I didn't have her? And it was nae about the things like, oh, I would nae ever be able to see her grow up or anything else. Nay, it was the feelings and the emotions. I felt like I was nae a good mum. I felt like I was worth nothing. I felt as if I was less than with some of the other emotions. I also felt as if I didn't exist. And that was because my inner soul child, my wee lassie within me, felt as if she didn't exist. So for you, an example of this would be perhaps what is underneath the wanting of a relationship or a job or whatever it is that it is for you so badly is because if you didn't have one, you would be nothing, like I was saying, or you would maybe be good enough. And this is why it was really difficult for me to get under that and heal that, because I felt as if I didn't have my children, they were my whole world at that time. And it was covering up that fact that I had stopped giving to my wee lassie, my inner soul child within me. Instead of making her my whole world, I was making my children my whole world. And they even listening to her, I was ignoring her. She was on that door and tap, tap, tap. Hey, mom, listen to me. My wee lassie, my little girl. But I wasn't listening. I was out there trying to have children. And so the universe said, okay, we're going to take them from you so that you can come to realize this soul remembering. Of nay being good enough, of being nothing. That I was nay good enough of a mom. And even at that time, I had my parents saying to me, reflecting that to me, saying I was a horrible mother. And other such horrible things. Now, of course, what they done, I had to come into soul forgiveness of and what have you, because they were very wounded within them, yet to do and say what they done. Yet I also had to come to thank them for it, because they were reflecting to me what I was doing to me. I was abandoning myself. How could I be a proper mom when I was being a proper mom to me? And it was once I let it be okay either way. That was the hardest part, honestly, in healing it. Even now, with my children being estranged from me, grown men that they are, having families of their own and what have you, we made peace. At least my eldest and I, we came to a place of peace, but we're still not in contact. But we did have resolution. I had to really come to being okay either way. Either being okay with the fact if they were in my life or nay in my life. Being okay with nay being good enough. I'm still okay even if I'm nay good enough. It was in stopping being in the resistance to trying to prove so hard that I was good enough, thereby creating such resistance. When I was able to come into that opposite of being okay either way, I became freer. As I accepted what is in my body of my wee lassie, and in that now moment of nay being good enough, and allowed her to feel that way, because that's exactly how she felt. If I would have gone to my wee lassie, my little girl, and said, inside, and said to her, "Oh, you're still good enough. It's okay. I still think you're good enough," she would have just sat there and been like, "But I feel good and not good enough." I So it wasn't until I allowed and accepted, just like I talked about in my last episode of this podcast about radical allowing and radical acceptance. It wasn't until I came into allowing in my body that my wee lassie within felt nae good enough, and saying to her, "You are allowed to feel nae good enough," that I was okay to feel that way. That's how I felt heard, seen, understood for the first time. And it made that emotional charge that was there of I'm not good enough, right? It made that emotional charge neutral. It was neutral. And I felt lighter and I felt freer because I stopped that resistance to it. So I invite you to be able to do that in your life. If there is something in your life that you are struggling with, accept and allow. I'm not good enough. I am a jerk. Whatever it is. Be okay either way. Be okay with that. Allow that in your body. And then from that place, from that resonance of that letting go of what you know and stepping into embracing the unknown, of that it's simply, truly, genuinely okay either way, with or without it. And this is another lesson that I came into, a soul remembering I came into, that I had to backtrack and really come back full circle in, that I feel called to share with you. See, back many, many years gone now, once I was first with my ex-husband, and this of course was before we were even married, I had our first son in wedlock. We were named married. And when I became with child, he walked away from me and our child. And it was when my eldest son, after I had him, I at first, during the pregnancy, I had attempted to try to get my ex-husband back because I really wanted him back for the first few months of my pregnancy. And then I slowly came into that acceptance and allowance that we're not going to be together. And I was okay either way. And I was so okay either way that I had my son. I did go and still do the court thing for child support. But I did it from a place of just he's going to be his father, nothing else. I didn't want him back. And I actually moved on and I was dating somebody else. In fact, the man I was dating at the time, I felt he was going to propose to me, and my ex-husband came back. And it was because I was okay either way. But the thing I wanted to come full circle with, that just happened several years gone, was that I thought I had to stay around with my twin soul, that I had to repeat what I'd done, which I actually did correct all those years ago, even though it was from a wounded place. I still did it correct, and I was meant to take my ex-husband back when he came back. We should have still co-parented our son and left it at that. And I was so wounded and wanted a family, and of course that was indoctrinated into me as well. But the thing I came full circle, maybe about, I don't know, 10 years gone now, I guess, was the fact that all this time I thought I had done something wrong, but I was actually doing it right. Because when I had the whole lesson and soul remembering and fully processed and healed everything from losing Caitlin, my daughter, and losing my boys, I came to understand that I was actually in that place of being okay either way. It was just me and my son at that point. I was a single parent, and I was okay either way. I was thriving Of course, I was still wounded during that time. I hadn't healed everything um, way back then. But what I did of letting my ex-husband go at that point, who was I had been dating at that time, um, I was okay either way, whether he was there or nay. And that's what had him come back. Nay, because I'd done anything, but because I did nothing, actually. And so when you can be okay with or without it, genuinely, nay, just saying the words, because you have healed, integrated, and processed your emotions and feelings about it to where it no longer has that emotional charge about it, that is when you feel lighter. You feel freer. The resistance is gone. Space and the resonance of feeling heard, seen, loved, understood, validated. And you go about your life, and guess what? It is only then that what you are wanting or desiring so badly will come, because you no longer want it anymore in that sense. And then guess what? Most likely you will not want it any longer, because what you were really wanting was neither that person, nor that circumstance, or that situation anyhow. What you were really needing was to have your emotions, your feelings, and your soul to be heard and validated, seen and understood. Because I came into understanding that. And had I realized that and nay fallen prey to, and this is why I said I would have nay had my children. I may have still had my eldest son, but I may not have had my other three. Because if I had understood that then, which I have healed and processed many years later, I wouldn't have wanted to even be married to my ex-husband when he came back. I would have stood in strong boundaries and been like, nay, I didn't want that anymore. So that is the real secret, if you will, of bringing something that you are meant to have from a soul agreement into your life if you're pushing it away. Now, what about once you truly are meant to let go of something or someone in your life? Now, again, the same can be said for checking in with God, Source, the Akashic Records, to see if you have a soul agreement to let this person, this situation, this circumstance go. Or if there's still something more to be learned or soulfully remembered from it first, whether it's in your life or nay. So first is understanding that everything, again, is infinite within Source, God, the divine. And thus, nay, anything, nothing ever gets let go of, really. It just simply changes form. Now, whilst that is true, in the physical earthly form, we can let go of our attachment to, and also our earthly physical connection to someone or something by our choice to be and do such. So it's both and. It's both things that are true and can be true at the same moment. Within the physically earthly letting go, we can only let go of someone or something that we have a soul agreement to let go of. If the soul agreement is free from being complete, whether they're in our life still or nay, this means there's still more learning and soul remembering there for you within it and with it, or with it and within it. Because, as I have said for many a year, that Source has given to me as wisdom from my experience of losing my daughter And everything that I've shared with you here is that if you done love something, you will repeat it again and again until you come into love with it and within it. And that love means love, or as in source, and it means being okay with or without it, being neutral about it. So if you do have a soul agreement to release this, and you have completed it, and it's no longer, you've completed the healing, and it no longer calls to your soul, and Source God is calling you to let it go. Once those soul rememberings are complete with that person or that circumstance or that situation, in connection to, for, and with it. And again, even if we still have individually healing processing of emotions to still do, that energy and motion is still there. If we are being guided to let go, to facilitate this process easier, is to understand that our perception of attachment is only what we choose it to be. In other words, to be able to let go is to repeat everything I've shared with you before about becoming neutral with it and within it, healing, integrating, and processing our emotions and feelings of it and what's underneath it, of those feelings and emotions. And then the invitation is to give the attachment a different meaning than the one you had attached to it to begin with. Does that mean to villainize it? Absolutely not. It means to have a different belief and a different emotional charge of neutrality to it, because this is where neutrality comes in. Because the two opposites are to place it on a pedestal up here, which keeps it away from you, and then its opposite, which is to villainize it or the person, which will bring it to you still in a negative way. So once again, to be neutral about it and to be within radical allowance and radical acceptance of what is of it. And I'll refer to my last video episode on radical allowance and radical acceptance for that. Now, your ego may attempt to argue with life as you release this and may be okay with what is. Yet I invite you to allow being nay okay with what is also, as it is in the allowance and acceptance of, even with the ego within you that is nay okay with what is, that also needs to be heard and also needs to be released. So in other words, in practical terms, that could be, I am nay okay with this. I am nay okay with this to be in my body in this moment. Now, in both instances, whether it is bringing something into your life or releasing it from your life, by truly allowing and accepting the person and or situation, circumstance as it is or as they are, and simply being okay with it or without it, and particularly in the case since you are letting go of being without it, this then changes the meaning we give it or that person and creates an open path for naturally and easily, without struggle, without pain, without anything other than radical allowance and radical acceptance, just being there. And it lets go effortlessly. For as I share in my Divine Feminine Goddess course and have been saying for many a year now, all healing takes place in the present moment. In this one moment, this Om, this now. It's the sweet spot where all healing occurs. Nay in the past, nor the future, as even the past and the future are still being accessed now in this present moment, this Om, this one moment, this now. This is free from being about sticking your head in the sand and ostriching or bypassing emotions or just saying the words. This is truly allowing and accepting your emotions, your energy, emotion, and feelings about it, processing them, and about a gentle, natural, organic understanding in being in the oneness of allowing and accepting. Just being okay with that person, that situation, that circumstance, no longer being in your sphere, in your life. Nae drama, nae trauma. As ye have processed your emotions, and it just no longer is being there. Much as the ripple in a pond, once we drop a pebble into it, it ripples for a time, and then it just dissolves into the oneness, the isness, again, of the water itself. So once you stop arguing with life, of either wanting it or wanting to let it go, the stop wanting and start just being okay either way, the neutrality. It will have things come and go in your life with you genuinely allowing and accepting such. Nay apathetically, nor resignation, nor a defeatist way, just simply as the Sakura Tree. Understanding and kenning, knowing that there is a special season, time, reason, that all things, even the bare Sakura tree, that is still bonny, still beautiful, and people come and go. And in that we just flow, in the now, the Om, the one moment. Flow in that allowance and acceptance, being okay, either way. And that too is bonny. Let go of what you know and step into and embrace the unknown, because that is where the magic is. That is where the magic is. That is where, as a songstress and musician, and others musicians, what we call is being in the zone of channeling Source, God, through you as you. It is unknown. And that is in the unknown that actually where the magic is. Because it's that flow of allowance and acceptance that is thriving. And it's thriving aliveness of creation. The no-thingness, the nothingness in which everything resides. This is where your best life flows through, in that thriving aliveness of rather of just you want it, you want it, you want it. It is a life beyond that, of what it's beyond what you want. And it's into the co-creation with Source, with God, and of your soul, and of what your soul agreements are that you chose before you came here, of what God and your soul want for you. Because you are worthy and you are amazing just because you exist. as Source God made you. And that is infinitely there always. In all ways, it's intrinsic. For who you are is the gift, the present of the presence of Source God, and the gift of the present moment of the now, the one moment. Being present for what is here now, of these feelings, emotions, energy, and motion, and it being okay. So be the presence rather than the pattern. And so, until we meet again, heart to heart, soul to soul, this is Lady Nanari sending you and wishing you love, light, and cosmic insights on your sacred path of life. May your life be filled with the soul waves of the love that you are. Mahalo and much aloha.